Welcome to the Science of Getting Rich for Women podcast, where we unlock the secrets to wealth and prosperity. I'm your host, Jessica Marie, a radical money coach.
And I'm Amy Bell, master designer, brand consultant, and founder of White Lightning Communications.
Together, we'll dive deep into the scientific principles of wealth outlined in the Science of Getting Rich, ensuring financial abundance with mathematical certainty.
Join us for real, empowering conversations about money, wealth, and the mindset shifts needed for true prosperity.
Whether you're ready to rise up or already on your journey to riches, tune in weekly for insights that will elevate your wealth consciousness.
Hello.
Good morning. Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good day, good evening, whatever time it is in your neck of the woods. It happens to be Friday here for us, and I'm just always loving Fridays. I know you are too, eh, Aim?
Fridays are awesome.
What do you got on there? You got some things in your ears there? You got some new gear? Oh,
I got some new gear.
Cool. Getting all fancy on me. I'm going to have to kick up my game here. I think what I'll do.
This is my favorite topic, so I want to make sure people can hear me.
Oh, yeah. Chapter 14, the impression of increase.
Yeah, it's a good one. I love it.
You said it was your favorite before we came on. It's one of my favorites too. It's really a feel good chapter, and it's a concept that I had not thought about before consciously, but oftentimes when we're in a good mood and we're feeling really joyful and abundant and generous, we do experience this dynamic of leaving people with the impression of increase. But this chapter just totally brings it to the next level, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he said consciously, I guess it was just my nature, because I never really consciously went into a conversation saying I'm going to leave this person with an impression of increase. But my nature is I want to do that. Like, I want to help people. I want to serve people. I want to make sure that when I leave them, they have more information, or they feel better, or they, have been impacted somehow by my communication with them. And so same with clients, same with friends, same with family. I just want to leave that conversation or that interaction better than when we found it.
And so I feel like we need to explain or elaborate a little bit more on what exactly is the impression of increase. Well, he says in the book that the impression of increase is really a key thought of all your efforts to convey to people's minds this impression of increase. And this impression of increase is what all men and all women are seeking. It's the urge of the formless intelligence within them seeking fuller expression. And so, like we talked about in other chapters, how everything is seeking more life, more expression, more expansion. That is the inherent nature of everything. And so when you become a person who consciously is always leaving the impression of increase with others in everything you do, naturally, people are drawn to you, because naturally and inherently people seek for more life. And if you are a giver of more life, you will never be without clients, business, prospects, leads, opportunities. So this chapter is really, really life-changing. If you can consciously bring this into your awareness, into your everyday interactions, you can become like a little scientist and experiment with this and see what happens. Like when you're at the grocery store, the teller at the checkout, she's living her life too. She's got a job, she's working, she's, trying to pay bills and do things. And that sometimes people are in a bad mood, and you can feel that. And sometimes when you feel that, you're not inclined to be, super nice or sweet to them. You're just like, But if you were to leave the impression of increase with absolutely everyone you come into contact with, even the teller at the store who is being grumpy and miserable, you're going to have an effect on people, and that is going to have an effect on you, because it's a natural law of the universe that there is cause and effect. In fact, I'm doing a masterclass on that exact thing right after this. Cause and effect. Like, you leave people with the impression of increase, there is an effect. What do you think about this, Amy? I know you're just like sitting back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, in business, when I'm looking at chatting with people, I was just at an event last night where there's no business involved in this conversation. It's just like, tell me what you do. And when I start talking to people about what they do, my brain starts to go like, what about this? Have you tried this? This is really cool. Oh my God, we could expand on that. Like, it's, they could potentially take those ideas and run with them and do them. And I hope that they do, because sometimes I have pretty brilliant nuggets of wisdom, take it, go. In a conversation like that. So now I feel, and vice versa. So the person I was speaking to was also in that same vibration, because I was so willing to give, my thoughts or my ideas without any expectation of payment or anything like that. They also had that law of reciprocity going. So they're offering me information, right? And then it becomes this really cool conversation that you have with people. And then we both walk away going, I want to talk to that person again. So we both left each other with the impression of increase. But then I've had other conversations where it's kind of a one-sided thing. Like, you're trying to draw blood from a stone to have conversation with someone. You're like, what value did that conversation bring to my life? It didn't. So I'm not really going to pursue any further action with that person, because whether we didn't vibe right, or we just didn't catch the right wave of conversation, or we were out of sync, or somebody was having a bad day or whatever. But that first impression was not of increase in some cases. And so you're like, well, okay, well, I guess that's just one for the killing time bank.
Yeah, it's all about the feeling too, right? Like, I always say it's always about the feeling, because it's really the feelings that we desire. And when you leave someone with this feeling, the impression of increase, this feeling like, oh, like, I just received so much from this person in our conversation, the ideas, the realizations that, I never thought of it that way before. Naturally, you want to gravitate to that person. Like you said, you want to spend more time with them. You want to reconnect with them. And when you become conscious of this dynamic in your life, and you do it as much as you can, as often as you can, you sit back and just begin to witness things unfolding for you, because synchronicities will start happening, and it's all connected to this impression of increase. Look, he says, the desire for increase is inherent in all nature. It is the fundamental impulse of the universe. All human activities are based on the desire for increase. People are seeking more food, more clothes, better shelter, more luxury, more beauty, more knowledge, more pleasure, increase in something, more life. Every living thing is under this necessity for continuous advancement. Where increase of life ceases, disillusion and death set in at once.
Ooh, snap. Isn't it interesting to go from like, if you don't do this, if you don't leave something, like, because everything is advancing and moving forward, you can tell, weeds keep growing. They don't stop for nothing, right? So there's nothing, and it's not until something stops advancing that it's now in a state of moving backwards, which is degeneration, which is death. If we're not advancing, we're dying. If we're not moving forward, we're dying. If it, like you just go into this state of uh, backwards movement towards death. And so we all naturally, because we all have a natural want for survival, we're always going to be moving forward.
Yeah, and like I feel like understanding that this desire for more life, for fuller expression, for increase is something that a lot of people have this negative paradigm about. They think it's selfish, it's greedy, and to be a good person is to be humble. A lot of it is connected to organized religions where you were a good person if you were humble and satisfied with what you have. You don't ask for more. Thou shalt not want, right? And so we're really like breaking out of that whole paradigm, because look, this is a science. This is the truth. And it is the law of the universe that we are always seeking expansion and fuller expression.
Well,
We
it's
have
it's aspiration.
Pardon?
You froze. There you go. It's like it's your aspirations that keep you moving forward, right? So if you stop having aspirations, if you stop having goals, because as we know, the goal is to grow. And so having that sort of carrot in front of you at all times just keeps you growing, keeps you expanding, keeps you wanting, because that's what we're here for. We didn't sign up to come to this planet where there's like beautiful food, like yummy food and beautiful places to visit and great people to talk to and like stay in our houses and never experience any of it. Like we chose to come here because there is all this amazing stuff to experience, and we need money in order to experience it. It's just the way it goes, right?
Yeah. You
What's
said
the quote?
aspiration.
Yeah.
You said
What's the,
aspiration, and it reminded. He says aspiration exactly in this quote. He says the normal desire for increased wealth is not evil or a reprehensible thing. It is simply the desire for a more abundant life. It is aspiration. You said it. You're
yes.
channeling them already.
Well, I was listening to it before and I wrote that down.
Oh, you
But
did.
I wanted it to be the cue for you to do what you just did, because I love that quote. It's like it's not a bad thing to want. It's like it's just the flow of life. It makes you a growing and expanding person. And the cool thing is, if you're practically speaking, if you're out and you're at a networking session, everybody that I know anyway who's in business has one nugget that they could probably use over and over to many different people, that is something that will be like, this is going to change your life. Sometimes I offer the Queen's Code because I love that book. It's life changing. So there you go. I just dropped one. Get the Queen's Code because it's amazing. Or it's like another thing that I tell people about, which is this website called Photo Feeler, which looks at your photos and then you get judged on the way you present yourself. And for business people, oftentimes our first impression is how we look, and you can get voted on, etc. So it doesn't take much to leave people with the impression of increase, because it's not on the top of mind of everyone. They go into a conversation thinking, what can I get out of this person? And so if you go into every conversation saying, what can I leave this person with that leaves them feeling, whew, I feel like a better person for having talked to that like I would, the people I surround myself with, like yourself and my friend Whitney and other women, we innately do this. But the natural thing for people is not to go into a conversation like that. Even if they're a salesperson and they think they're servicing, they're still going in with the impression of, what can I get out of this person? And so it doesn't take much. A little nugget, a little tip that you can give somebody, an idea that just springs to mind that you're downloaded while you're chatting with them. Like, just give it freely. It'll come back a million times.
It's really a paradigm shift, isn't it? Because if we've been conditioned to really see what's in it for me, what can I get out of this? How can I, advance from this experience? and to shift it and to totally flip it and be like, how can I leave this person with the impression of increase? What can I do for this person that will leave this person with more than what they had before they talked to me? Because when you live that way, like, things change. Like, it's so magical. And it's, for most of us, I will say, speak for myself, it is the opposite of the way that I have been brought up in this modern world, and I think I speak for a lot of people,
Mhm.
leaving people with the impression of increase as your focus in all your transactions, in all your business dealings, it will change your life. And it does require conscious awareness. If you are someone who is not doing this on a regular basis, the first thing you have to do is become conscious of it. It's not something that you'll start doing right away automatically. You become aware of it. So, like, I was just at Costco. It's when I'm going down the aisles, and people are like, what it's like in Costco. You're hustling and bustling. People are like, elbowing you. You're trying to get through or whatever. But I always try and have patience, a smile on my face, and I can sense when other people are frustrated. They're not happy, and I want to leave them with the impression of increase. Like, oh, that woman's peaceful. That woman feels very harmonious. Like, she is not in this vibe at all. So I want to rub off on people. I want to leave people with the impression of increase. I want people to know that by being in conversation with me, being around my energy, they feel better at the very
Yeah,
least.
I do. I like to do things like, last night I went to this event, and there was a woman, as I was entering into the building, we were in a underground parking, and she had on this great outfit, and it was all floral and summery, and then she wound up being at the same event. It's like a huge building, and she was coming to the same event as me. And I just turned and I said, I noticed you in the parking lot. You look amazing. I love what you're wearing. You just got like this whole summery, beautiful vibe going on. And she's like, oh my God, thanks for saying that, because I was feeling really self-conscious. I don't come to these events a lot, and I didn't know what to wear. And I just put this on. And so thank you. Like, you don't know what's going on in someone else's mind. And a kind word. I've stopped women in the parking lot and said, oh my God, you look amazing. And they're like this, what? Thank you. Like,
Oh,
if women can do that more often to one another and just raise them up, like, I don't know that woman. It was like a passing and kind of like, oh my God, thank you, as we're walking away. It didn't spark a conversation. It wasn't for anything. But, if you've got this urge, and my heart starts to go, because I'm like, oh my God, are they going to think I'm an absolute crazy person, like just making this rando comment, right? But that's when I know that I have to say it, because that person needs to hear it that day for whatever reason. She might be on her way to a business meeting and she's totally nervous about it, or she might just be going to pick up her kids and she's frazzled or whatever. But, like, not being afraid to follow the instinct that says someone needs something nice said to them today, just do it. And that's an increase. I may never see that woman again, but in that moment we've done it. Or buy someone's coffee behind you, or you have a tip for them that can save them time or money or energy. Like, I don't
you,
understand why all people don't do this.
you know what? Because, like you just said, before you said it, you're like, oh, this, maybe she's, you went into judgment of yourself right away.
Mhm.
Like, should I
Yeah.
say this? And she's going to think that. No, that's not what it's about. Follow the energy. And it was like, gosh, I love that dress. She needs to know how good she looks. And then
Yeah.
you affect her vibration. You totally affect the way she feels. You affect her whole energy. And now she is not going to forget you. Like, you have left an impression of increase. She sees you in the hall that you're in, And she instantly has warm feelings to you. Oh, that's the woman that made me feel so good. She complimented me. I love her. Everybody loves people that compliment them. Like you were saying, especially as women, if we as women complimented more women, then we're going to be liked more. And don't we want to be liked? Don't we want to be in community and harmony with other women instead of being in competition with them?
Yeah. Yeah, the other thing that I find is really great for leaving people with the impression of increase is just listening.
Oh,
Like hearing somebody. People's favorite topic, as we all know, is themselves. And if, I'm not a big I kind of like a bit of a wallflower in events. So my go-to is I ask them a question about themselves, and then I can start building that conversation. And I may never talk about myself by the end of the evening or the end of the conversation. I may never have said anything, but they're like this, "Oh my God, I love you." And I'm like, I didn't even say a word. They probably forgot my name because that's what you said. The feeling is what is going to be left. And as long as I can make someone feel better than when I met them, my life is good.
oh, gosh. This stuff should be taught in school. It should be taught to little kids. This is the stuff that makes for a rich life.
And you never know what words are going to come out of your mouth that will impact someone for the rest of their life. When I was younger, I felt like I was a bit chubby, mostly because my brother used to call me fat. And so that used to make me upset and made me self-conscious. And then I remember a family friend came over with her partner when I was maybe 16, 17 years old, and she made a comment. This is back in the 90s, so it may have been inappropriate to say it now, but she made a comment like, "Oh my God, you've got the cutest little tushy." And that comment changed my life forever because I was like this. Oh my God. Like, they're wrong. All those people that have been saying that, all I needed was one person to validate, and then I was good to go. But, my brother, because brothers do this, they make comments to you and you're like, oh God, there he is again. I'll just punch him. And then I lived for 16 years thinking I was fat, and I wasn't fat. I had a bad body image of myself up until that point. And then she made that comment and I was like, whoop. Who thinks that a comment like that to a young woman is going to affect her for the rest of her life? Or a teacher's comment. Teachers in general need to be careful what they say to students. Oh my God. Leave your students with the impression of increase because
Oh,
that.
wow. Yes. Teachers have a very, very significant role and opportunity to
Yes.
leave young, impressionable humans with the impression of increase. I mean, I think we've all had experiences with teachers who have said negative things that have really left an impression of decrease.
Yeah.
And if every teacher knew about this impression of increase, there would be, I mean, every student would just love them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, really, we're talking about our words a lot here because our words have energy and they matter. And so if you can do kind words in a conversation, whether it's business, personal, or with a family member, like they have impact. So, Brian and I are always like, watch your words. We want to make sure that we're always speaking from the highest level of our heart and that we, yes, of course, if there's an argument, something might come out, but immediately apologies have to happen because like you can't have that bad energy in the home, especially.
Yeah, no, definitely, especially with kids.
Hmm.
He says, no matter how small the transaction, even if it is only the selling of a stick of candy to a little child, put into it the thought of increase and make sure that the customer is impressed with the thought. Convey the impression of advancement with everything you do so that all people shall receive the impression that you are an advancing woman, and that you advance all who deal with you, even to the people whom you meet in a social way without any thought of business,
Yeah.
whom you do not even try to sell anything. Give the thought of increase. Like you were saying, you're not necessarily trying to sell people all the time. You don't have to be doing that, but you can still leave people with the impression of increase.
Yeah.
Are you having a hot flash?
It's a little warm here in Ontario at the moment.
Hilarious, because I can hear it.
This is better than getting up and going and turning on the air conditioning right now.
I can hear it.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll stop. Yeah, see, I can talk about the impression of increase all day long. And I know that, we want to keep this to 30 minutes, but like, yes, if you're in an environment at the moment, like you're in a job you don't want and you want to get into a new job, if you're thinking in that job about your aspirations, about growing and expanding, it has to come back to you. You can't do the job of, say, working in a variety store when you really want to be a graphic artist and you're thinking about being a graphic artist all day, and you're, maybe working on something and at the counter and a customer comes in and they say, "Oh, what are you working on?" Like that is leaving both of us with an impression of increase, because a customer who's just coming in for a stick of gum is asking what you're doing, and you're doing this while you're a clerk in a variety store, and then you're both going with that energy. And so it always leads to something. Great clerks at McDonald's, they're the drive-through girl is like, "Hi, can I help you?" And they're all like, "Woo, woo." Like, you don't know if there's an executive whipping through there and they're just like, "Oh my God, you would be a great, customer service person for me. I'd love to hire you. You have great energy." Like, come on, these stories happen all the time.
I know. You could be at, the coffee shop, drive-through, McDonald's, whatever. And when you experience someone who is in that energy and frequency of joy, it is felt, it is transmitted, and you instantly like them. You instantly want to engage with them. And, if you see them often enough, like you said, you might even think of offering them an opportunity when something comes available in your world. And like you were just saying, like, it's a feeling, it's a frequency. He says words will not even be necessary to communicate this feeling to others. They will feel the sense of increase when in your presence, and it will be attracted to you again, and will be attracted to you again. So it's a feeling that's conveyed. You don't even have to say any words. The feeling is conveyed. The person feels it, and then they instantly become attracted to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this transmission.
Yeah. So when you're walking through Costco, and energetically you're sending good vibes to the people that have just, crashed your cart, and instead of going, "Oh," you're like this: "I love you. You are awesome. You are amazing. I'm sure you're having a bad day. I wish you well. I want to leave you with something energetically from me," because we're always like leaving a sort of a wake, like in a boat, you leave a wake of water. You're leaving a wake of energy behind you, and you have the opportunity to leave a good wake or a bad wake, right? So if you can energetically send good vibrations out, like the energy test, I think we've done this in different ways, maybe some of us, where you're all the room is focused on sending negative energy to the person on the stage, and their muscle test is weak. And then you send positive energy to that person and the muscle test is strong. So you're like, I totally agree with you. Don't even need to speak. It's the energy, and you're stepping into that woman you want to be. And I want to be someone who leaves people with the impression of increase. So that's the air that I take with me.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to invite you to experiment with this impression of increase. Now that you're aware of it, now that you understand what it is, if you'd like to learn more about it, you can get a copy of The Science of Getting Rich for Women on Amazon, and you can learn more about it. But play with this and witness what happens. It's quite spectacular and magical.
Oh, the feeling that you get from even doing like stop a random stranger and tell them they look great.
Oh.
Just do it. Just do it today. You must do this today. When you're shopping.
It's a great idea. Amy, when I went out to celebrate that big decision of magnitude that I made on May 25th, we went out for dinner and then we went out dancing. And I was dancing on the dance floor with some friends. And this young lady came up to me and she gave me the most beautiful compliment. And I instantly loved her. She goes, "You look like you should be on a yacht. You look so rich." I was like, "Who are you? I love you." But it's true. Just compliment a random stranger and see what happens. It's so much fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Amy, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And to our listeners, I hope you have fun with experimenting with the impression of increase. It really is a game changer.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Jessica, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye. You gonna take it?
Thank you all for joining us today on the Science of Getting Rich for Women podcast. Your presence means the world to us.
Before you go, we have a special request. If you found today's episode enlightening, please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more incredible listeners like yourself.
And don't forget to share this episode with your friends and family who are ready to rise to new levels of prosperity.
Before we sign off, remember to connect with us on Facebook and get yourself a copy of The Science of Getting Rich for Women on Amazon.
As we close out today's episode, remember how powerful you are. Hold strong with faith and purpose that you do get what you want, and watch as the universe conspires to fulfill your dreams.